We move on to our topic of the week, where we're gonna get into Black Panther with some spoilers, but not yet. So stick with us. We'll get it. We'll warn you when that happens, and you can check the description down below for the time code to skip forward. The movie of the moment, Black Panther, the
Yes,
18th
sir.
MCU movie, and the last one before May's Avengers: Infinity War. Black Panther stars Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa.
T'Challa, the king
T'Challa.
of Wakanda. To you, sir.
Yes, the king of the fictional African nation of Wakanda and inheritor of the Black Panther powers. The film is the first in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe to star a black superhero, and although snarky people on the internet will point out that movies like Blade and Hancock beat Black Panther to the punch of black superhero, this movie is undoubtedly the blackest and most African superhero film that we've seen. Director Ryan Coogler's movie creates a whole African mythology featuring actors like Lupita Nyong'o, Dania Gurira, Letitia Wright, and Daniel Kaluuya as African royalty, and has a villain in Michael B. Jordan's Eric Killmonger that not only has a distinctly African-American perspective to his character, but happens to be one of the best comic book movie villains ever.
My
Still,
opinion. Agree.
Black Panther is a Marvel movie, and it must fit within Kevin Feige's master plan, both narratively and tonally. So, Art, no spoilers for now, but how close to perfect is Black Panther?
That's disrespectful right there. I'm not taking your cat puns.
I had to get one in.
Oh,
We'll avoid them.
I was hoping maybe someone wouldn't have heard that, but I heard it and I cannot. No, I did not expect it to be perfect. I think, and we've talked about this in the past, where when it comes to a minority director or actor, whatever else, that when they come up with a movie, it needs to be perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't make a mediocre movie.
You get a lot of expectations and weight placed on those shoulders.
I'll start it off with this. People have been like hyping this movie up a lot, and then other people are like, "You guys are hyping it up, so I gotta underhype it." And there's this whole tension to it. If you think the movie's mediocre, then that's fine, because black people deserve their own mediocre movie, and Mexicans, and everybody deserves their own mediocre movie.
Yeah.
I agree. Some people have taken to the point. You mentioned Blade. You mentioned Hancock. Hancock was like one of the. I love Hancock.
Yeah, I think Hancock's
so
really
yeah,
underrated.
I think some people have disrespected previous movies because of this, but they still make a point. This is the point that they're trying to make. If you like a team, right, and you've been waiting for this team to do something, just because another team has done it, that doesn't matter. Because when the Eagles, for the Eagles fans,
both on scale and just on like production budget,
Right.
there is no comparison between Black Panther and those movies
exactly.
that
And on top of that, we have this thing called Marvel fanboys and Marvel fanism. So for the people who love Marvel, that's cool that other movies have done it. But this is who they look up to, and they finally gave it to them. And whether it's good or bad, if people like it, I'll let them like it. For me,
I think there's also something to be said for just the fact that you see some of these big scenes, these group shots with extras walking around in the back, and I don't know if I've ever seen a movie on that scale with just the plethora of black faces in these different types of roles. I mean, that's a really big argument in this movie's favor. Doesn't necessarily mean the movie's good, but it's a really, it makes the movie a really great piece of representation and something that is strikingly unique. Like, it's worth noting how unique that is in the scheme of these big budget movies.
Now, I'm sure you and I agree. Everyone's making a big deal. Some people are like, "Why are you making it such a big deal?" I'm waiting for the point where you're right. When it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? When another one just comes out and it's like, "Oh yeah," and just like this one, you can judge it. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. I know, and I don't want to speak for everyone or strawman anyone, but I know that there are some people who like feel bad for not liking it. No, it's still a movie. And for the people who do like it, love it. Can't be your favorite movie of the year yet because we still got a long way to go. But in terms of a movie, I think it's a solid movie. I still think that just like every other Marvel movie, not the biggest fan of the CGI.
Yeah.
When they keep going
I've seen a lot of people complaining about the CGI, and there are points where it's like very obviously fake.
Oh, I saw it in Dolby, so yeah, I can tell.
But I'm also, for me, I'm also like, I don't believe that there's actually two people falling through the air in Black Panther suits fighting each other. So
I do. Should have been practical.
I only go so far with having bad CGI take me out of a movie, I guess.
But I mean, for me, it's still the story. I, as a huge fan of Ryan Coogler, as we mentioned earlier in the show, what he does with Fruitvale Station and what he does specifically with Creed and those little set pieces that you follow with the characters, I think that in this movie, when you get those action set pieces, it takes away from what Ryan Coogler does best, in my opinion. That's why I bring up the CGI, and I also bring up that thing with Marvel characters where it's a lot of things that they need to cover for world building, which I know some people like, and that's dope. I like when we get into the themes of the movie, and that's why, to me, the first half of the movie is like, all right, that's cool, we're getting into this world, and I know people love it. For me, it's when Eric Killmonger comes in. I'm not a fan of hibernating my man for 40 minutes like I brought up. I wish he was in there longer. I wish Claw was in there longer.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, he is dope.
So I think this. I mean, we can get a little bit more into. Should we launch into spoilers, or should we talk a little bit more broadly first?
We can do a little bit more broadly. That wasn't so much a spoiler. It's a 2-hour something movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was nice that the movie was able to have two really interesting villains. I think there's a lot of superhero movies where it fails to balance their storylines, and found a way to give you a lot of both. Although I could have even used more of both.
What was the movie that had like 20 bad guys in it? There was a superhero movie that had like 50
What, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or something?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 had like 5 bad guys. And the producer,
the Rhino shows up for 5 minutes.
And the producers, they were the main bad guys. But, exactly. For this movie, I thought that balanced out perfectly, especially the dynamic between the two bad guys and how they were like kind of, maybe in a sense working together, using each other, but how that leads up to Black Panther and his interaction with the bad guy. I think what makes it good, and I'm curious to know your thoughts because a lot has been said about the acting of Michael B. Jordan, because I love the character. How do you feel about him having that straight up, I've been calling it the Vic Mensa accent, just coming in, angry as can be, even though he was in the military and went through all this training and whatnot? I mean, he still is that Oakland kid, but what did you think of him like taking over as King of Wakanda and still being like, man, F this, I didn't say F, but swearing out T'Challa when he comes back?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it's part of the attitude. It's part of he's very much talking about representing a culture, and I think it's very much of a culture. Like you talk about hip hop, like it's got that kind of
what I figured
aggressive
it was,
posturing thing to it.
Exactly.
And you have to remember that. I think one thing that is really, really interesting about the Eric Killmonger character is he's very much coming from the African American perspective.
Yeah.
He's coming from the perspective of going through what people have gone through here in America and bringing that with him to Wakanda to carry the burden that a lot of black people in this country have faced. So I think that type of posturing, that type of accent, I think it makes sense for given his background and given what we see of his upbringing in the movie. I wanted to ask you, how unique did you feel Black Panther was in relation to the rest of the MCU? We mentioned how there's like a plethora of black faces, which is its own unique thing, and there is some of that same cheesy Marvel sense of humor. What are those in there? But did you find this movie different than most of the Marvel films, or kind of in line with them?
Thor is like the only other one where we've gotten a world, right? And I mean, no spoilers for Asgard and how that doesn't matter anymore, but Asgard wasn't that dope of a place, but you also didn't, for me, I didn't really, it was just like, oh, it's mystical. Okay, yeah, but like, what's the feeling of Asgard?
Right.
What are the people like in Asgard? What do they do? I think you get that more in Wakanda. You understand it a bit more. I thought it was interesting the way
being transported to another place.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Especially when you get to the after credits scenes, where I think we can jump a little bit more into a little bit slight spoilers.
I mean, we can throw up. If you don't want to hear any spoilers,
y'all have
we kind of talked
it.
about our broad feelings. So hit that description down below for the time code.
5th biggest opening. Y'all have seen this. I know everyone's seen this movie if you're watching this video. So we're just, we're talking about it. And definitely comment down below. The idea of opening up Wakanda.
Yes.
To more people. Maybe, and I think you still get it with it being a 2-hour movie, but the length of time that Wakanda has been its own thing. And now it's opening. I think you still feel it in the movie, but it would have been interesting if we would have seen it more or heard about it more. I think we got introduced to it in Civil War, but the impact of how big of a decision that is to reveal to everyone, oh yeah, by the way, there's a whole other place you guys have never heard about.
Yeah, and we're gonna go back to Wakanda in Infinity War, so it will be interesting to see
Wakanda blows up.
Invasion of these other elements is
That's
really
what I'm
going to
saying.
change it and maybe ruin Wakanda for a little while. But,
Right?
It'd be great. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'd be down to see more adventures there. I mean, I think one thing that's really cool about it is that it wasn't just, even with Asgard, it kind of was like all the godly people and then like the one or two traders, whereas you get a lot of different layers to this whole Wakanda thing. You have
5
the
tribes,
different tribes.
yeah.
You have Kaluuya's tribe and you have the mountain tribe, and it's really cool. I'd love to see some more of that stuff too.
Let me hit you with a question, because I had this brought up about people calling Wakanda a fictional place, which it is a fictional place, but
yeah, so is Westeros.
Exactly. No, I've heard different things brought up about how for such a technologically advanced society, they're very barbaric in the way that they choose king. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, people have been arguing that like for an advanced civilization that it's weird that they have this ritual ceremony for choosing who's king. I think it's worth noting that basically every tribe passed up the right to challenge them. Like there seems to be some order there for the most part.
Yeah.
And even when there was a challenger, he yielded. They're not like bloodthirsty. They're kind of asserting themselves. And we're in the most advanced civilization in the world, and we're not getting rid of our guns. So I don't know. It's not exactly that big of a difference.
That's when I heard that, I'm like, but Afghanistan though.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we can't ban AR-15s, then I don't know why people are complaining about ritual death ceremonies.
Yeah, of course. That was one of the aspects of the movie, that the country makes wrong decisions, right? Like keeping its borders and not building bridges, like not helping other people, like doing something like that where they can easily be unstable and fall apart.
You can be an advanced civilization and not always be right.
Yeah, so some people had also questioned, like, what at the end when the guy pretty much, he opens up, Wakanda is a place, we want to help out other people, and as you know, everyone thinks Wakanda's a poor place, so that one dude in the after credits is like, what do you have to offer? Some people, they're like,
Martin
what
Freeman
the heck
gives him that look.
Are you giving us back the money for the feed the children? Some people were like, what does Wakanda have to offer? Vibranium. I think some people, I thought maybe it's because I know the comics a bit more, but the power of vibranium, how vibranium, like, I don't know if you notice, like, it's not just for technology, it's also the way it can handle elements. It's also how they digest it and it gives them powers, right?
Yeah.
Like
I also think just the ability to cure people of bullet wounds would be
That's
useful outside of Wakanda.
Exactly. Like, this is an element that is huge. Like, it does so many things. So that would be like the one thing that obviously makes them useful. How that's going to affect Infinity War, my joke was that after thousands of years, they finally reveal that Wakanda's a place, then Thanos goes and crushes it. That would suck. Yeah. But I have heard people say, because as we get to the ideology of Killmonger brings up that there's a bunch of blacks in the world, right? And we're all suffering, and Wakanda could help out, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And some people have been like, yo, exactly. Why doesn't Africa help out? Not realizing that, again, Wakanda's a fictional place. There's actually not a place in Africa that has all this. There's blood diamonds. That has all the
secret wealth to share.
Yeah, there's blood diamonds, but you can't swallow a blood diamond and be healed. That being said, I thought it was interesting that Wakanda is only Wakanda because that's where the asteroid fell. I thought that was a little interesting. Like, that. Imagine if it fell somewhere else.
Right.
Can you imagine if it landed in Ireland? And how Ireland has their own, like, I don't even know what the Ireland equivalent a name would be. Then we get this like leprechaun of a superhero that's got to come out.
Green Panther.
The Green Panther.
I wanted to circle back to the villains that we talked about previously, because I think it's interesting. We both liked both of the villains. I thought Claw, played by Andy Serkis, was really good, but then, again, spoiler section, he gets shot.
Literally cut out too early, yeah.
About like an hour into the movie, I want to say. And from that point on, it is pretty much all on the Killmonger villain plot. And for me, I thought this was kind of interesting comparing it to the way that a lot of other films try and do the two villains thing. You take like The Dark Knight, for example, which while The Dark Knight is really good, I don't think it handled the two villains thing good.
Calm yourself.
I think that what makes it work a little bit better is that the sort of smaller villain, the lesser villain, is who we're introduced to first, and then the meat of the movie is on the person we really care about. The way that, you know, the Joker was kind of the big bad in The Dark Knight, but we ended up spending a lot of time with Harvey Dent at the end. I think maybe flipping that, the way that Black Panther does, is kind of a solution to this two villain problem.
Maybe. I mean, I like the one in The Dark Knight because, spoilers for those who haven't seen a 2008 movie, he kind of creates Harvey Dent. Like Harvey Dent is his experiment, but I get what you're saying because in here
there's the argument that Harvey wasn't given enough time in that movie, which is an argument I buy.
You live long enough, you become the villain. He got shot off screen. Claw got shot off screen, and maybe that means something. I don't know. I mean, the man got his arm chopped off. He still lived, didn't bleed out, so maybe he comes back. But I do think that act alone elevates Killmonger. Even when he shot his Bonnie, well, this man cold. This man's who am I thinking of? Kills his family.
Oh, Kaiser Soze.
This man Kaiser Soze right there. He's like, forget you, boom, boom, boom. It's like, whoa, this man don't care right now. He does it to himself. That ending, literally with Killmonger, when his own cousin's like, yo, dude, like, bro, let's go eat some vibranium. I'll help you out. We got you in the sequel, man. And he's like, nah. What does he say? And I even wrote it down when he's just like, throw me in the ocean with my ancestors who were willing to jump because they knew death was better than bondage.
Yeah.
And then he for the watched himself. Ooh.
Oof. And that's one of the things that I think makes Killmonger maybe the best villain that Marvel has produced. Because I think a great villain is someone whose cause you understand, who you can empathize with their frustrations or anger, and it's just their methods that you disagree with.
Exactly. You know? There was one point where he's just like, he's telling you like what the problem is, and he's like, well, I mean, I can't. I mean, it's true. I mean, we just saw this flashback.
His big idea is like, let's take all this technology and give it to the people who have nothing so they can do something with it.
Right, but then he also says,
and then use it to kill people. Wait. You should have stopped that sentence.
Wait a minute. He's like, because there's no way to change. He ain't right? I love. What did you think about him being so? Like, there has to be a version of the script where Killmonger straight up said, "And destroy all white people." Whoa.
Not sure that works in a Disney
colonizer, movie. Okay?
Yeah.
They whited it out. Colonizer. I mean, it's ballsy.
Control F.
It's just dubbed. He's saying white, but he goes colonizer. I think having the villain have that, I think it's a very ballsy plot. Mm-hmm. That's why I find it, or theme, motivation, whatever you want to call it. That's why I think it's so interesting when people go, why does this movie have to be political? Because the main villain's whole thing is saying how black people are, his dad says it, the This Is Us guy, because that's the whole idea. Wakanda is all about themselves. That's how they create a really good society, right? With no problems for the most part, until it's like challenging day. But they're oblivious to all the other problems, and it's not until they go out and they have spies out there that, you know, as you figure out, he's a spy for Wakanda, but he falls in love, has a kid. He figures out that there's like no way for the people there to help themselves out, and he brings them some good points, and you know that leaks down to his son, who his son's like, bro, you weren't raised in Oakland, you're here in Wakanda. Well, look at this place, look at these sunsets. So I think the fact that you sympathize with him. You know, the last villain that I sympathized this much with was Malekith the Destroyer in Thor 2.
I mean, for me, I thought back to like Syndrome. From The Incredibles.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, that's a good example right there.
I wanted to bring back that idea of it being political. I mean, I think I understand why people are like, keep politics out of my superhero movies, but I don't know how much it is political as much as it is factual. You know, like the things he's talking about aren't like, do you have an opinion on it? The things he's talking about are what has happened.
Oh no! See, this is where you're confused, my friend, and I don't mean to be, because I'm an SJW Nazi Klan.
I've read your comments.
Democratic. Yeah, I'm all over the place. All right, so I'm allowed to say it. When people say "don't be political," what they mean is, "Oh, I disagree with you."
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that.
But here, you watch this other video where I'm saying what you do want to hear, and then it's not political.
Exactly.
That's what they mean when they say
exactly.
They say don't.
All
get
the
political.
Celebrities who talk about politics should shut up, except for the ones that I agree with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you see any of the twists coming?
Well, I knew Killmonger, so you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
not him shooting.
The fact that it was the uncle and the son. Did you know all that because of the mythology?
No. Yeah. So I guess seeing the kid, I did not think he would be the kid. I guess that kind of caught me off guard. I thought that was cool going back to it and sort of like, ooh.
Yeah.
I like seeing a scene. Seeing a scene twice and going like, ooh. And I loved the pseudo flashback scenes in the afterlife when they talk to their fathers. That was cool. I liked that a lot. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
For me, I saw the Forrest Whitaker being Forrest Whitaker Jr. twist coming because I recognized the actors.
Because the droop?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of an it's both good casting and like
is
a
it
slight
not
tip
his
of the
son?
hand.
Because I know they're both
it's
Whitaker.
Son.
It is his son then.
It's his son.
That's what I said. Someone told me it wasn't. I'm like, nah, it's his son. He's the great debater. Yeah. No, I thought that was good casting, and I also thought the casting for T'Chaka, the dad, when he came out, I laughed because I said Marvel at it again, just trying to. That's clearly Boseman. I go on IMDb.
That was good casting.
That is another dude who looks just like freaking Chadwick Boseman.
Looks like he could be his father.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I thought they legit just anti
old age make them.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, you guys are pathetic
Benjamin
here. And then I realized, oh shoot, that's another actor.
Did you have any favorite characters? Probably. I know we both really thought Killmonger was great, but aside from Killmonger, anybody else you loved?
I've said Killmonger. I thought was the best. I think that the best actors in the movie, obviously Lupita is the best in anything that she's in, but I really loved the Dora Milaje. I'm blanking on her name, but Michonne. Most of us know is that Michonne.
Yeah, I have it here, but I'm really bad at pronouncing it. Denai Guerrera. And Claw. Honestly, I really like seeing. What am I blinking on his name? Andy Serkis.
Yeah, one of the two white dudes in actual real roles when he's not CGI. He's fantastic at CGI.
But he's a really good actor too.
Every time I see him, comfortable. He's so comfortable in his roles. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be completely honest. Besides Forrest and Lupita and Danae, everyone else with the accents, we're trying really, and this isn't like these. Watch their interviews. They tell you, dang, those accents. Like, we had to shoot other movies just to practice the accents. The Messenger for the King one that Chadwick's got online. Right. That movie, he has said it. That movie was just an audition for Black Panther. It was him testing out the accents. That dialect coach should have gotten first billing. Forrest Whitaker's really the only one who knows how to do the accents like perfectly well, in my opinion. But Claw, dude, he's just so comfortable. Like, he was having fun with it. So I like.
You can tell that he was really leaning into the character.
That's why when he died,
when
he died, I was like, brah, but he was so much fun on screen.
Yeah, I wasn't done with him.
I want to see a SoundCloud link.
I thought Letitia Wright was kind of delightful. I mean, she has some of the cheesiest lines in the movie, but I don't think that's her fault.
It's not her fault.
She did a lot with them.
I'm rooting a lot for her because, as you know, she was just in. She was in the last episode of Black Mirror, but I had also just seen her in the Train movie with Liam Neeson, The Commuter.
Oh yeah.
So she's getting little roles here. This is obviously a really big role, and I think it's a role that a lot of people are going to attach themselves to. Obviously, as a Batman fan, Oracle. She's got that Oracle-like character, and they beat DC to it, right?
No, I mean, you mentioned Batman. I mean, she's basically like the Robin of this movie in a way.
Exactly.
And there's talks about how this character in the comics eventually grows into Black Panther, so maybe that's in her future. But regardless, I do think she's going to get a lot of big roles off of this, having such a prominent role in such a big movie. So I guess in summation, are there things that you didn't touch on, things that you liked, didn't like?
I mean, in terms of the movie, just like I said, I think it's still a Marvel movie. It plays into some of the Marvel tropes. I'm curious how it plays into the bigger picture of it. I'm curious how they handle the sequel. I'm curious how Black Panther himself is in Infinity War. Because so far, for me, Civil War is the best rendition of Black Panther. And I know exactly why. It's because he has that anger to him. He's there to prove something. And in this one, he's trying to become king, but it wasn't the same as he was in Civil War.
As much as I like Boseman, I did think that they made T'Challa a little bland in this movie. He was kind of Captain America do-gooder without the, like, man out of time kind of fun cook to him.
Exactly.
And it gave a lot of room for all the characters around him to have some fun character development.
And he was so good.
I don't know if he necessarily had the most to do.
Exactly. That's why I say, like, my favorite characters were the supporting characters, the ones who were really driving the thing along. So that's why I'm curious to see where the sequel and where he goes in Infinity War. But people like making their Marvel list wherever you have it. If it's lower than mine, if it's higher than mine, that's cool. For me, I have to see it again. I have it at like 6 or 7. For me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's definitely top 5. But
yeah, because you've only seen 5 Marvel movies.
I also have missed a couple, and I'm just, I'm not a Marvel guy. It's not. This is, as much as I do think that this was one of the better Marvel films, and there's a lot of things to extol about it. We've talked about so many things that we've liked about it, and neither of us have said the word war rhino out loud yet. So
you really like those?
Yeah, man. How can you not like a battle rhino?
Look,
get out of here.
I'm only defending them because I grew up with Power Rangers and the Megazord. I understand the concept. But, I mean, it was okay. I like how the other guys are the Dothraki.
Yeah.
They just come in. That was another cool element. Since if we talk about the 5th tribe, I like that. I thought that was cool. Where he could have easily drank the thing and become the new Black Panther, and he didn't. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. No, I thought the way that they handled that whole section without Chadwick Boseman was pretty good, it gave a lot of the female characters really important roles in the film, and it brought that character back in a way that was unexpected.
He's going to be in Infinity War too. I thought that was cool. I kind of spoiled it for myself. I looked him up. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. It'll be cool to see him there.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see all of those characters return. I'm excited to see them give a little bit more to Chadwick Boseman in the future. Like you, I think that the way that this movie isn't great is in the ways that it sort of falls into the stereotypical Marvel beats.
Yeah, it's still a Marvel movie. That's cool.
There's not a whole lot of tension in that you don't really ever think that things are going to go badly for most of these characters. And I think there is a little bit of like choppiness to the pace. But that's kind of the case for most of these Marvel films.
It's a long movie.
But I think there's just a lot of enjoyable aspects to it and a lot of interesting things to think about. So, and we've talked about before how many of the Marvel villains are forgettable. This was not one of them. Michael B. Jordan's so cool in this movie. The whole design. I love the hair too.
His hair was dope.
He goes from Vic Mensa to Quavo or something. But
I brought up the Vic Mensa. I have not brought up the Quavo. His jacket was cool too. I really like his jacket, the first jacket that he has, and his gold Black Panther suit. I thought the purple was dope. Nah. I better not see any purple Black Panther suits for Halloween. Y'all better be going in the gold one, because the gold one was crazy.
Yeah, man.
That was a nice one.
So it's easy to see that Black Panther was a hotly anticipated movie, and I think ultimately you have to hand it to Ryan Coogler. That between this and Creed, he's delivered on sky-high expectations at the helm of iconic franchises. I can't wait to see what Coogler does next, especially if it's something original, because it's been a little while since he's given us something like that.
That's where he thrives.